Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer, calling all 8th graders, or honestly, anyone who just wants to seriously sharpen up those algebra skills. Today, we're unlocking a massive shortcut in math. It's called the power of a product rule. Now, if you've ever stared down a crazy algebraic expression and thought, man, how do I break this down without getting a hand cramp from writing endless lines of variables? Well, you're in exactly the right place. This rule is a foundational tool that's going to save you time, massively boost your accuracy, and honestly just make math a whole lot more fun. Let's get our minds focused and jump right in. But before we get knee-deep in variables and exponents, our source material from the Heroesmart Academy actually sets a pretty unique intention for this lesson. They pull from Colossians 3:23, which states, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord." The Godly Learners series frames mathematical diligence not just as typical schoolwork, but as an act of character building and devotion. The idea is that approaching your studies with a purpose-driven work ethic transforms a simple math exercise into a real practice of discipline. So let's keep that in mind, give this explainer our full attention, and tackle this concept with all our hearts. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is the core of today's lesson, the real big idea. The power of a product rule basically says that when you raise a product to a power, you've got to raise every single individual factor to that power. So if you have a times b sitting in parentheses and the whole thing is raised to the power of m, that perfectly equals a to the power of m times b to the power of m. You might be wondering, why does this even matter? Well, mastering this specific pattern is going to help you simplify expressions insanely fast. But more importantly, strictly following this rule teaches you incredible attention to detail. Catching these tiny little details in algebra prevents small slip-ups from snowballing into totally frustrating, massive errors down the line. And you know, this brilliantly illustrates exactly why the rule works. We don't just want to blindly memorize formulas here, we really want to understand the mechanics under the hood. Let's look at the expression 2x all raised to the third power. What does that literally mean? Well, step 1, you expand it out. You're multiplying 2x by itself 3 times. So 2x times 2x times 2x. Step 2, we group our numbers together. 2 times 2 times 2 gives us 8. Step 3, we group our variables. X times x times x gives us x cubed. Smash them together, and we get our final answer, 8x cubed. By applying the exponent to literally everything inside those parentheses from the get-go, you get to skip that whole long expansion phase entirely. Now, what's actually really cool here is how this math holds up with standard numbers, not just those tricky variables. Take the expression 3 times 4, inside parentheses, squared. If we use our shiny new rule, we apply the exponent to both factors. That gives us 3 squared times 4 squared. Okay, 3 squared is 9, and 4 squared is 16. Multiply 9 by 16, and boom, you get 144. Now let's quickly check our logic. 3 times 4 inside the parentheses is 12, right? And what is 12 squared? Exactly, 144. The math holds up perfectly. It completely proves that treating each factor to the power simplifies the whole process safely and accurately. Section 2, Mastering the Examples, Leveling Up to Variables and Coefficients. Now that we've got a solid grip on the mechanics, let's level up. We're going to hit some rapid-fire examples, combining numbers, variables, and coefficients to really build up that mathematical confidence. Here's example 1. Simplify. 3x in parentheses squared. Remember the rule. That power of 2 applies to everything inside the parentheses. So we apply the 2 to our coefficient, the 3. 3 squared is 9. Then we apply the 2 to the variable, x. X squared is, well, simply x squared. Put them together, and you've got your answer, 9x squared. It really is that fast and that straightforward, as long as you don't forget to square the 3. Moving right along, let's see how this builds in example 2. Simplify a times b, in parentheses, to the power of 3. Now this one's a purely variable-based expression. There are 0 numbers to multiply here, just applying the rule. That exponent 3 acts on the a, so it becomes a cubed. The exponent 3 also acts on the b, becoming b cubed. Your final simplified answer is absolutely seamless. A cubed, b cubed. You're literally just distributing that power to every single factor inside the walls of those parentheses. All right, let's hit example 3. This one's kind of the big boss, combining coefficients and existing exponents. Simplify. 2a squared b, all in parentheses, squared. Let's just take it piece by piece using our new cheat code. First up, the 2. 2 squared is 4. Next, the a squared. Now what happens when you raise a power to a power? You just multiply them. So a squared squared becomes a to the power of 4. Finally, the b. B squared is just b squared. Bring all those pieces together, and our final simplified answer is 4a to the fourth b squared. Look at how easily your new shortcut completely dominates a problem that, honestly, looks pretty intimidating at first glance. Next section, practice makes perfect. Your turn. Okay, I've been doing all the heavy lifting here, but algebra is definitely a participation sport. Here are 5 homework practice problems for you. We've got 2i to the fourth, ab squared cubed, 5m squared, 3x squared y all squared, and finally x cubed y squared squared. I want you to go ahead and pause this explainer right here, grab some scratch paper, a pencil, write these down, and conquer them on your own. Remember, apply that exponent on the outside to every single factor on the inside. Take your time, really pay attention to the details, and prove to yourself that you've got this rule down cold. Final section. Education meets morality. The ultimate equation. Welcome back. Now that you've totally flexed your algebraic muscles, we're going to slow the pace down a bit and look at the bigger picture presented in the HeroesmartAcademy series. The source emphasizes a pretty powerful statement. Education without morality will hurt. Think about the math rule we literally just learned. If you drop an exponent or forget to apply it to a single coefficient, the whole equation just collapses, right? You end up with a totally wrong answer. Well, the HeroesmartAcademy philosophy teaches that life operates on a very similar principle. The idea is that gaining a high level of intellectual education without a strong moral compass to guide it can actually lead to harmful, destructive life choices. Intelligence is an amazing tool, but without morality, it's like an equation missing its most crucial variable. Our source text actually connects this idea straight to Scripture, specifically Romans 8:6-7, which promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. The diligence, that laser focus and attention to detail you apply to getting an algebra problem exactly right, the source argues that's the exact same kind of diligence required to keep a spiritual, moral mind. Intertwining biblical morality with your education doesn't somehow limit your intellect. Rather, as the source emphasizes from its own experience working with learners, it brings a genuine, lasting peace of mind to your entire educational journey. So, the crucial point of the Godly Learners series really boils down to this. What is the point of being smart and supposedly educated if you just continue to make bad choices that hurt yourself and others? As you go forward and crush these mathematical shortcuts, the source leaves us pondering how to ensure that our knowledge is always guided by the wisdom of a really strong moral foundation. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep practicing those exponents and take care.